Whew! Another shot is fired in the cell phone gimbal war. Today we're going to compare the brand new Zhiyun Smooth 4 versus the DJI Osmo 2. Which one's going to win? What's up everyone, I'm the Everyday Dad. If I can figure it out, you can figure it out. Like I mentioned on Monday, I love cell phone gimbals, and there's no better way to enjoy a cell phone gimbal than to compare it against another one, right? The two current juggernauts on the market today, Zhiyun with their Smooth 4 and DJI with their Osmo Mobile 2. Now I do think that these gimbals are aimed at different segments of the population. The DJI Osmo Mobile 2 is more of a simple to use for everybody that just wants to get out and do some smooth footage with their cell phone. That's what this one's for. While the Smooth 4 is more for people that want to take their mobile filmmaking seriously and have a lot more manual control over their images and their video. Now honestly, both do a fantastic job in stabilizing your cell phone. Most big name companies that produce gimbals today, they do a fantastic job. So it's not really how well the gimbal works, it's which app do you prefer, which style of gimbal do you prefer, and what do you like about the physical aspects of the gimbal itself that will probably be what makes up your mind on which gimbal to pick. But before we start getting into those, let's cover the main spec differences between the two gimbals. The Smooth 4 is a 3-axis stabilized gimbal with a load capacity of 210 grams. The Osmo Mobile 2 is also a 3-axis stabilized gimbal with a load capacity of 202 grams. Now when it comes to battery life, the Smooth 4 has a built-in 2000 milliamp hour lithium-ion battery with a reported 12 hours of battery life. However, the DJI's gimbal is no slouch either, with a built-in 2600 milliamp hour lithium-ion battery with a 15-hour use time. Both gimbals do have the ability to charge your phone while in use. However, if you use a phone like my iPhone 7 Plus here that's pretty big, you're not going to be able to balance the phone and charge it at the same time. So while both phones have the ability to charge your phone and use them at the same time, you may not actually be able to take advantage of that if you have a larger phone. Now something that I really like is that both gimbals have a 1/4-inch tripod mount on the bottom. If you remember back in the day, the Osmo Mobile 1 had its tripod mount on the side. I didn't really like that as much because you needed an adapter to get it to work. I like the quality of life improvements where you can just throw this thing on a monopod and turn it into like a big dolly shot. Or you can just get a small tripod, like the one included with the Smooth 4, and be able to just set your tripod down whenever, wherever. Makes it so much easier to use. I like having the mount on the bottom. Next up, let's cover one of the major differences between the two gimbals, and that's physical size and button layout. The Smooth 4 is a much bigger gimbal with many more buttons. It also has a sizable wheel on the side. On the front, you have a range of buttons, most of which will only work with the ZY Play app, including the menu, display, switching between zoom and focus for the wheel, record, and take a photo. The wheel in the middle also controls different functions, and the button in the middle can turn on and off your phone's flash. Right below the wheel is a switch that will allow you to change from pan follow to locked mode, and the power button. On the back are two triggers, one activating phone go mode, which increases the reaction speed while you're trying to film quick action, and the other is the standard gimbal follow mode. This mode allows for you to raise and lower your phone. The Osmo Mobile 2 is much smaller and much more simple, for better or worse. On the front is a joystick that manually will traverse the gimbal, a record button, and a function button. On the side is a digital zoom, much like the Smooth 4's wheel. Now, they both feel much more budgety than previous iterations of the company's own designs, but the Smooth 4 does feel more robust. I prefer how the Smooth 4 feels over the DJI Osmo Mobile. The Smooth 4 feels more solid, it feels like it's made out of higher quality materials. The Osmo Mobile 2, we've talked about this before, it just feels cheap, like the materials feel cheap on it. It feels very plasticky, and it doesn't feel as good. Now let's talk about the other major difference between the two, and that's the app. DJI uses their DJI Go app. The Zhiyun Smooth 4 uses the ZY Play app. Now honestly, they both roughly work the same way, and they roughly have the same functionality. They both have motion time-lapse, they both have tracking, they both do roughly the same thing. So it really comes down to, again, your personal preference on which app you like better. Now filming with both apps, with both gimbals, is a really awesome experience. I personally like the DJI app a little more. I use it more often when I'm flying drones. I'm just more familiar with the DJI ecosystem of the app. However, ZY Play is no slouch either, and I really like how much you can control straight from the gimbal itself. You rarely have to actually touch your phone to get something to work. You just push the buttons and it works. I really do like that. The standard Smooth 4 app is much more complicated to navigate, and I generally switch it back to the simpler Zhiyun style app since I'm not a mobile filmmaker. Overall, I prefer the gimbal functionality of the Smooth 4 itself. The bigger size of the gimbal and the beefier motors make it easier to handle the phone and gimbal combination together while you're trying to go out and film. However, I prefer the app and the joystick of the Osmo Mobile 2 over the Zhiyun Smooth 4. I like being able to do smooth pans and tilts without having to physically move the gimbal. I like being able to do that straight from the joystick itself. And like I said earlier, I prefer the DJI app over the Zhiyun app. I personally find it easier to use. And something that adds a little more versatility to the gimbal is I found out during these tests, if you add a little bit of counterweight to the Zhiyun Smooth 4, you can actually use small point and shoot cameras like my Sony RX100 Mark V. However, it doesn't really hold it very securely. I wouldn't do a lot of like high action things with it, but in a pinch, you can stabilize a point and shoot with the Zhiyun Smooth 4. I think that's really awesome. You can't do the same with the Osmo Mobile 2. I tried really hard, but it just wouldn't work. So what, right? So which of these two gimbals do I recommend? I mean, like I've said the whole video, both of these gimbals are really great, and it's gonna boil down to your personal preference. Do you prefer a simpler to use, joystick-enabled gimbal that is small and can fit pretty much anywhere? Then you're gonna wanna pick the DJI Osmo Mobile 2. Or do you want more manual controls and do you not want to touch your phone as much and you just want to do everything straight from the gimbal itself? Then the Smooth 4 is a pretty good choice. The only thing I really wish the Smooth 4 had was a joystick. I wish you could move the gimbal with these buttons. And I've had some problems getting my Samsung Galaxy S9 to work with the Smooth 4. So if you use a Galaxy S9 and you want to use the Zhiyun app, you're going to have some problems. At least I've had some thus far. As of the date of this video, there are still some problems with Samsung phones and the Smooth 4. So again, neither is a wrong choice and both are pretty great. Thanks for watching.